getting right into it, here's how I Nuzlocke LIMBUS company. Is what I would say if I had done it already. Now, I know the title is a little clickbaity, but let me explain. My name is Kamui, a traveling ronin who wanders this land in search of adventure, mischief, and alcohol. I'm here to forcibly bring you along on my adventures and antics to hopefully bring you a wonderful tale to tell. First things first, I'd love to give credit to the person who originally made this version of the Nuzlocke I'll be using today, at Kamui. I'll link the actual video below, and also socials on top. As if people who aren't in the community wouldn't already know who they are, nonetheless, on the off chance that you might be seeing this yourself, call me. Now, let's not dilly-dally any longer, and get right into things. First things first, in this Nuzlocke, we'll specifically be fighting all bosses and completing all Cantos. There's also a difficulty level, which will actually provide unique and challenging additions. My goal is to complete this on A-Left difficulty, but for now, we'll be doing Zane, the easiest level. The way this Nuzlocke will work is each sinner only has one life. We've got to make sure that they stay alive. Not only that, but each fight we're limited to a global team level. It's basically their way of nerfing you and forcing you to use strategy with IDs, game knowledge, and pure skill. Now in my head, I already knew all of Canto 2, including its bosses, would probably be the easiest. Going in the order of the Cantos themselves, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and every interval in between. By the way, we skipped Canto 1 because it's more like a tutorial, but we'll flop about with that later. That didn't stop me, however, from sitting and thinking, who do we actually bring? My first instinct to check the weakness of the enemies that we'll be going up against on the wiki. But they don't actually list the Canto enemies for the dungeons. Drats. That's fine. This is why we go off brain power. And let me tell you, from doing the unloving all the damn time in the mirror dungeons, I remember what they're weak to. It's slash and blood. Now I decide that these 3 special IDs will be our Canto 2 trio. Drum roll, please. Ta-da! The She units. My reasoning for this? Simple. Number 1, I don't have them leveled. Number 2, I have them apply forward. Don't ask. Number 3, they provide a major damage for this early game, and with their special passives of needing to be low health, we have a safety net in case they actually do get low. That's about it. Luckily for me, these 3 units will fit exactly under the limit to fight every boss according to the spreadsheet displayed on screen. So, immediately getting into it, I'll only be talking about the highlights and, more importantly, the actual bosses, since the grunts are quite easy to handle, although anything notable will definitely be shown, don't you worry. We have a few close calls, not in this video, but in the next. The first boss we do have, however, is Ida and her lovely wave of mariachi. Going into this, I know the first thing we needed to do was, well, win the clash, gain sanity, save the ego, yada yada. I wasn't too worried about getting hit, because on the off chance that we actually did get low, well, it'll only empower our She units. So, with that, let's slice, dice, and chop her way through the waves, before finally taking down the Queen of Dance herself. With that, we can officially begin Canto 2. Canto 2 is, well, easy. I knew going into this, and as I explained before in the intro, that this is more so a warm-up for the more challenging and difficult bosses / encounters that we'll be facing. For this Canto in particular, I'll be showing off the mooks that we kill, more specifically because there's a lot less of a talk about before we get to the real bosses themselves. So during this montage of absolutely destroying every enemy in my way for the first floor, we'll talk about some of the main concerns, strategies, and as well as things I'll be doing to relieve my sanity throughout this challenge. In my head, the first wall we'd be really up against was Baba Yaga. Now, if you catch me live, you'll see me occasionally mentioning the HP values of our enemies we'll be fighting inside of the Cantos. It's been such a long time since I've done a non-hard mirror or railway content that wasn't current, that I severely overestimated how strong some threats might be in these earlier Cantos. But I know at least Baba Yaga had a genuine chance of putting us in the ruin, strictly because of the time limit and the enemy count. For a reminder, Baba Yaga's gimmick is that it's a multi-wave fight, and each enemy has a status called Baba Yaga's Coming. If this status ever reaches 0, we lose it. With only 3 sinners to front, it was really important we made sure that not only could they do the maximum amount of damage, but also do it fast enough, and be punished less when struck by unopposed attacks. This is main reason why we chose She units, because I believe that at least 2 of the 3 builds would be fit. And don't worry, we'll talk more about Baba Yaga when it's actually their turn. The other wall I didn't expect that would happen during this is, Papa Bungie. Now for him it's a little interesting. The Univalo has 2 mirror dungeons, the story and the hard one. I had a moment to look over the rules and guidelines to see which one we actually had to do, but after taking a gander at the wiki and reading the differences, yeah, the hard mode was the answer. Why was it a war that I did not expect? Well, for any fans of Otis, keep your heads up. Your queen will arrive in the station soon enough. For the last part here, before we actually get into the boss, we get our first event. Now, there's nothing in the rules saying that we can't get events and ego gifts, and for the Zane portion, I'm gonna allow myself to get ego gifts. However, when we actually start doing airlift practice, I'm gonna try and go for 0 ego gifts. And yes, that includes Canto 3. Whether I will regret my action or immediately rescind it, I have no idea. But for now, we're about to get to our first boss, a lovely classic. You must become strong? You wish to be hurt badly? You wish to have a slow-ass fight? Yeah, whatever we decide to name him and go forth with this. My first concern, of course, with this is the fact that we can't kill him. It's not the fact that we can't kill him, it's the fact that we have to survive. This is a wave fight, and in case you don't remember how surgery works, I'll give you a quick explanation of how surgery works. So, every time you defeat an enemy, surgery will increase. Surgery increases the amount of damage they do, but it also lowers the maximum amount of health they have. Now, for this fight, we could win in either 2 ways. Number 1, we can kill each enemy 5 times. The second option is to kill him twice and move forward with the abnormality event. Now, the abnormality event for this specific case works as so. We have to investigate the factory, then we have to kill him and bring him to 0 to then investigate the factory. Then we have to choose if we love the city we live in. We want to shut down the factory, so we hit no 3 times. Once we do that, the surgery effect will disappear, and the next time that we defeat the enemies, we will defeat them for good. Luckily for us, they do keep the lower health, so it becomes nice and simple to do so, defeating them easy peasy. Now the enemies in here are not a joke. They have high value single coin attacks, and the main bad guy, you wish to be hurt badly, can do a large number of coin damage to a single target. The strategy I used and chose to do this is if anybody is going to get hurt, it has to be Heathcliff, because I felt that Heathcliff, second to Ishmael, would benefit the most due to his AoE. Now Ishmael, I wanted to try and keep alive out of everyone the longest because I believe she is the most valuable to us in general. Heathcliff's second valuable, and then Don Quixote third valuable. Now Don Quixote has plenty of uses, especially with her incredibly high coins. However, in the hard mode version, we're actually going to be losing Don Quixote and sticking with just Ishmael and Heathcliff. The reasoning for this is because we're going to be able to get multiple Heathcliff coins and also get multiple skill 3s on Ishmael. Now if we ever reach the threshold by some miracle and are still alive, we're going to benefit way harder by having Ishmael and Heathcliff be low HP than actually Don Quixote. With his powerful coins and his allies actually being a somewhat of a threat, although luckily for us most of the time they just blocked or used their defensive, this is still a very easy fight, if not time consuming. With all that finally done and explained, the real answer that we ask, did we wish to become strong, is yes, and we'll destroy everyone and anyone in our path to become so. Kamui from the future here. Just wanted to show off this little clip that happened right after we beat You Wish to Be Hurt Badly. It's kind of funny. Here's my live reaction. Then we'll go back to the post commentary. I forgot how low they made it. This is peak. But also like a last resort. Probably we don't use this at all. Kim Jae-hoon? Kim Jae-hoon, good sir. Yeah, I bumbled around like that for a little bit. After about a minute or two of that, I just reclosed the game, restarted, and everything was fixed. After we defeat our first boss, we only have a few minor encounters to deal with, and that is both literal and figurative. Our next encounter that's going to be coming up is Pink Shoes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about this encounter until we started seeing the pink enemies appear. That's because I wasn't really worried about it. Although since I was reminded about it, it could be a potential danger to us. But that conversation will start when we actually get to the boss fight. For now, we pass through a long event, get some ego gifts, a last few encounter with the Pectula, before finally reaching the Pink Shoes themselves. So, actually starting Pink Shoes. First things first, we need to figure out what we're dealing with. Now, to be honest with you, Pink Shoes was definitely the easiest fight that we've actually encountered so far. So it makes sense that I kind of didn't remember that they even existed for a moment. The gimmick with Pink Shoes is the first phase of the fight, they clash very easy, you do a little bit of damage, and then the second part when they get enough of their desire effect, insanely strong, high coin power, all of that goodness. The problem is that we actually killed most of the minions in the first go. I even considered using Ego to speed this up, but I decided that not only would I much prefer saving the resources, I don't even think I could activate any Ego. Nonetheless, Pink Shoes was incredibly easy, so much so that I could skip this as a normal encounter and no one would be none the wiser. Pink Shoes we dealt with swiftly and efficiently. Luckily our She units were strong enough to basically destroy everything in one hit, if not stagger, and the extra bonus damage was not a big deal because we gained max sanity really early on. With all that said and done, Pink Shoes is down, and we are on to the final floor, what I would consider the part where I was the most uncertain, the final floor to Baba Yaga. As we made our way to the end, this would be the perfect time for me to get a feel for a few certain enemies, mainly the weird bird hybrid Baby Yagas. There were a few of them that I was concerned with, mainly due to the fact that we will be getting one-sided a majority of this floor, especially with the boss. Although everything looked scary at first, I soon came to realize that, yes, it wasn't really that scary. But is it so wrong for me to have a little fear? I'll figure that out during Hell's Kitchen, which I guess is a little spoiler to how I went with Canto 3. Besides that, what's more important is us taking through the mooks, destroying our enemies, leaving nothing behind, including the pockets of loose change and drippages of booze I can find along the way, before the team finally makes their way to the Queen Castle, Baba Yaga. Well, here we are, friends. We finally made it to the final fight of Canto 2, Baba Yaga. Now, as a quick explanation, I'll go over what I said previously about how Baba Yaga works. Baba Yaga is a multi-wave fight. The first wave we don't have any side effects and no specific status haunts us. However, Baba Yaga is coming will appear after the first wave. If we don't defeat the enemies by the time this buff runs out, Baba Yaga will kill us instantly. Now, luckily for us, we do keep the sanity that we gained as well as the skills from the first wave. Meaning as long as we don't get cheesed by anything in particular, it's a smooth ride. Our pickings for the She units here came in beautiful. With this major damage to slash, every time we attacked, we destroyed the wave, one after another. And by the time that we even got to 6 enemies, it didn't even matter. Our Ishmael and Heathcliff, even Don Quixote, were taking down them one at a time. And if not taking them down, it's really gratifying to see a team that you've built work so well. Now, it's Canto 2, I know I shouldn't be tooting my horn, but this is the first time I've ever done something like this. I'm not really a challenge person, so going into this, it is scary. It's a new experience, but don't worry, I'll start getting scared by real threats sooner than later. But for Baba Yaga, there's really nothing else to talk about. We destroy Baba Yaga, leaving them nothing. This burg will be without its egg, and Rodion's Canto is complete. And with that, the video is officially complete for Canto 2. Now, my upload schedule isn't going to be super consistent. I'm going to be working on this on the side as I do mainly the streams because I prefer to focus on the streams. The videos I'm thinking of splitting off into each video per Canto, so if they get harder and harder, it'll probably be like 15 minutes, then 25, then 35, 40. And then for the Aleph video, I'm going to save that for one mega movie. I don't know, I'll call it something like The LIMBUS Company, True Sinner Experience, or something like that. But for now, look, thank you for everyone who's watched and stayed to the very end. I plan to play LIMBUS Company and do content at least every day. Maybe not a video every day, but it'll be mainly streams every day, and then highlights and maybe little videos like reactions and stuff. Reviews as well. Whatever new LIMBUS and Project Moon Fanatic stuff happens, I'm here now. I want to be a part of this. I want to be someone that other people go to and be like, yeah, I like watching this guy. He's cool. Or, you know what? I'm inspired by him. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm going to try and commit, even if I don't think it looks good or the production isn't good. I guess Rome wasn't built in a day. So, thank you all, travelers, and I hope to see you all next time. Have a good day.